to 66. Okay, example 5. 84 is 60% of what number? Now we have to learn how to write this. A lot like the previous lesson, we have to know that we have to write this as an equation. And remember that whenever you see 60% or a number percent, it's out of 100, right? 60 out of 100, right? So 60 out of 100. And they're telling us that 84 is 60. So 84 is 60. So what are we looking for? We're looking for this bottom variable right there. So there you go. Now we can compare where we're looking for 6/10. If you really wanted to make it a little simpler for yourself, you can say we're looking for 6/10 or even 3/5. So then I would just line it up again as 84x is 3/5. Make sense? Because 60% is 3/5. And I know that my 3, because I said 84 60%, my 3 is my 84, or 84 is my 3. What did I multiply the 3 to get 84? I believe to get 84, I would have to multiply by 28, right? 28. Let me make that a little bit bigger here and just move it out of the way. Okay, so I would have to multiply that by 28. So I must do the same to the bottom, right? Times 28. And that gets me 140. Therefore, x equals 140. Remember, you can also do cross product. So you would have 3x on one side equals 84 times 5, which is 420, right? And here we have our x, our 3x. Bring the 3 over to the other side, becomes division on this side, and we have our x equals 140. The way the textbook explains it is that we're being told that 84 is 60%, but we write it as a decimal, okay? And we're looking for the whole, out of the whole, right? So we have here 84 equals our 60% times the whole number. W is the whole number that we're looking for. So we are going to cancel out this 0.6, bring it to this side, dividing it, or just divide both sides by 0.6, and then you get your whole number is 140. This is the way the textbook explains it. Okay, example 2. 18 is what percent of 25? So 18 out of 25. And they're asking you for what percent out of 100? What out of 100? There you go. Okay, what percent? What out of 100? What did I do to 25? I have to multiply it by 4. Let's do the same to the top. We multiply it by 4, and you get 72. Okay, so that's, I think, the easiest way to do it. Here's how the textbook has explained it. You know that you're looking, the part is 18 and the whole is 25. So part is 18 and the whole is 25, and we're looking for the percent. So again, you do 18 equals 25%, where you multiply the 25 times the percent. You see the 25 out and you divide it. So now you have 18 out of 25. Here's what we did. 18 out of 25 equals your 72%, 72, but as a percent, it's going to be 72%. So we kind of got a little bit more direct into the answer the way I did it. Again, as an independent practice, here you have your homework questions, 10 questions, 20 to 29. I want to take this time and remember to title this as 6-3 homework. Okay. Right now, I want to take this opportunity to focus on question 28. The items in the souvenir shop are on sale for the prices shown. What percent of the original price is the sale price? So what percent is this price of this price? So what they mean is, for example, here we have, let's see, well, let's do the last one, the tote bag, just because it's a small number. The tote bag is $6.30 out of 9. So they're telling us, they're asking us, make sure that you understand the price. What percent? So we're looking for the percent of the original price, so the original price is going to go on the bottom, is the sale price. So what percent of the original price, there's all out of our original price, is the sale price. That's our sale price. This is our original price, and they're looking for what percent. What percent. Now, boys and girls, some of you might be able to see a pattern here. If you were to rewrite this, okay, as 90, and you write the top as 63, okay, you understand that both of these are multiples of 9. Do you see it? Multiples of 9. 9 times 10 is 90, and 9 times 7 is 63. Do you see that? Okay, I'll move these guys out of the way so that you can see. So really, what I have down here is 10, and what I have on the top is 7, because I am able to see that both of these are products of the multiplication table of 9. 9 times 10, okay, is 90, and 9 times 7 is 63. So really it's 7/10. And when we write 7/10, we write 7 in the 10th place, which as a percent is 70%. Okay. Now go ahead and do the rest on your own. I'll see you in class. We'll check this in class as well. Okay, now we're on lesson 6-4, percent of change, meaning how much did something change by. You have to compare from the original percent and compare it with the change. For more information, please look at page 270 to 274 in your textbooks. Finding the percent of change is actually quite easy, and I believe this might be a review for many of you. I remember doing this in 5th grade. So let's say, here's a typical question. Find the percent of change. So how much percentage did it change by when you change from 64 minutes to 16 minutes? So we had to find out how many minutes it's the difference there in order for us to know what we are comparing it to. So we simply take our 64 and we subtract 16 so that we know the change, the difference, and we understand that the difference between the high number and the low number is going to be 48. Yes? That's 48 minutes difference. And now we want to understand what this is out of the original amount. The original number was 64 out of 64. Do you see? So that's how much it's changed from that number to this number. Now I can see that they both are even numbers. I'm going to make it even simpler for myself and write half of it on the top, 24, and half of it on the bottom is 32. I can see that they're both divisible by 8. Do you see it? They're both divisible by 8. Let me just move these guys over here. Okay, move this whole thing. They're both divisible by 8. On the top I have 3 of them, and on the bottom I have 4 of them. So I see that I have 3/4. If you were to write this as a percent, what would you write? 75%, right? 75%. So that's one way to do it. And you can see here that when they subtracted the numbers, they actually went from 16 to 64, and they got a negative 48. And the reason I want to include the negative, boys and girls, is because it went down. Okay, that percent of change went down, not increase. It was a decrease. You see, it went from 64 down to 16. Now, you don't have to, in future note, you don't have to do the smaller number and the larger number afterwards. You just find the difference. And you know how to find the difference by subtracting the smaller number from the larger number. You know that. But you also can see, simply using logic, that it went down. So it's a decrease. It's a decrease of 75%. That's what they want you to include. They want you to include the negative so that you write it as a decrease or a negative change. See, since, you know, look how they write it in the, since the percent of change is negative, it is a decrease. But I mean, logically speaking, you would know that it's a decrease. It went from 64 down to 16. Yeah, that's a decrease. It's not an increase. So it decreased by 75%. Okay, for the homework, make sure you write 6-4 homework. Okay, 6-4 homework or homework 6-4. You can write it the other way around. Please notice that they want you to include whether it's an increase or decrease. You can do it the way the example did it by working with negatives, or you can just make sure that you see it logically if it went up, or sorry, if it increased, if it went up, or if it went down, if it decreased. So example number 30, 55 down to 24. That's a decrease. Make sure you include that. So a decrease of what percent? Now remember, find the difference between those two numbers, and I can see that it's already a difference of 21. If I'm not right, no, 31. A difference of 31. So I see a difference of, oh, let me use red, I'm sorry. A difference of 31. And yeah, sure, I'll put the negative sign since it's a decrease. And it's out of 55. Okay, so what is 31 out of 55 as a percent? You can go ahead and write it as a percent. Or you could divide 31 divided by 55 and then multiply by 100. Or you could do your cross product where you multiply here and you multiply there. Okay? But make sure that you include that it decreased. Over here we have from 55 to 75. Obviously it increases. Let's see, let's go down here. 3.2. Estimated distance is 3.4. It increased by 0.2. Okay, what percent is that? 50 to 90, another increase. 88, and this week is 110, another increase. 30 days completed, 75 days, another increase. Okay, what was the percent error of estimate? Oh, okay, here we go. This is something we haven't looked at, and what tends to happen sometimes is that people make an estimate, right? They're saying a project estimated to take 30 days to complete. So they say, oh yeah, we can do it in 30 days. But in reality, it turned into 75 days. Okay? Estimated to take 30 days was completed in 75 days. That's a huge error. That's more than double the amount, right? So what was the percent of error estimated? Clearly more than 100%, right? So you're going to have to find, again, the difference. You have from 30 to 75 is 45, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Okay. Again, boys and girls, I'm doing this quickly, but I do want you to do the math yourself. And this time, we're not going to write over 75. We're so used to writing it always over the larger number. No, you have to write it over the original number, over 30. Okay, because we estimated 30, but we got 45. So how much do we have here? How many 30s do we have in 45? We have 1, right? And we have 15 left over. 15 over 30 is a half, right? So 1.5. Well, 1.5, boys and girls, as a percent is 150%, right? Because this 1 is 100%, 1 is a whole, right? It's 100%, it's all of it. And another half is another 50%. So there was 115% margin of error estimated. That's a lot. Look at 34. 34, they're saying the number of pints of mint chocolate chip sold last week was 88. If this week 110 pints are sold, what is the percent increase? So we're looking for the percent increase. So how much did it percent? Am I going to put the 110 in the bottom or the 88 in the bottom? No, the 88 is the original number. Okay, and remember that it increased. Okay, we are going to base this as our whole, as our 100%, and that's our starting point. So it needs to look like this. Okay, it's going to look like this, and I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to go down to 55, and over here is 44. I know that over here, if we divide them both by 11, I have, I have 5 on the top and 4 on the bottom. So how many 4s are in 5? I have 1 and 1/4. Okay, so what was my percent increase? It increased by 125%. Do you see how I converted 1 and 1/4 to 125? Here's a whole, my 100%, and 1/4 is 25%. Yes? So it increased by 125% compared to the week before. This is why you need to use the first number as your starting point, and then your second number as the top number. Now, if you were to say, this is my percent of increase, right? This is how it relates. But if you were to say the other way and find the difference between these two numbers, right? And you could also argue that there was a 25% increase, and you wouldn't be wrong. So if you were to just write it as in real world math, if you say there was an increase, okay, of 25%, you would not be wrong. Okay, so if you were to include that increase of 25%, that would be the more correct way of expressing it. Because remember, we are looking for find the percentage of change, finding the percent of change, and this is the percent of change. There was a 25% increase. Okay, this is the more correct way to do it. But this can actually show you that it went up by 25% because 88 is our 100% and 25% is the difference. So Either one can give you the answer, but this is the more correct way to do it.